Every person has his weaknesses. It's quite normal. We are not robots, right? People can be completely different. My kryptonite, for example, the Sony brand. From Vaio to PlayStation, from Alpha to Xperia, I am typical Sony fanboy. Every time I thought about getting off Sony and moving to something else, I still came back. The samurai must remain loyal to the shogun and all that. Therefore, today I'm doubly pleased to introduce you to Sony Xperia 1. The design is simple and perfect. Yes, I usually say that nothing ideal exists, but there are exceptions. Just look at these forms. The luxurious glass, the aluminum frame, Gorilla Glass 6 on both sides. Xperia 1 is a true flagship, which is obvious. And also take a look at the SIM card tray. No needless clips and other junk. And inside there is a place for the SIM card itself and microSD or 2 SIM cards. At the same time, the smartphone is protected by the IP68 standard. This is witchcraft. The bezels are minimal, especially those from below and from above, and the ones on the sides have separate purpose, but we'll talk about that later. But the main thing is how comfortable it is in the hand, as it was made specifically for me, and this is with a completely wild 6 and 5-inch display, and all because of the untypical 21:9 aspect ratio. All navigation is focused on the right side. There is a camera button and lock button, and a fingerprint sensor and a volume button. By the way, I always like the sensor on the right. In my humble opinion, this location is much more comfortable and aesthetically pleasing. And now let's get to nitpicking. The first, glossiness. I do not like covers. The sensations are not the same as they say. Therefore I worry that all this beauty unprotected will very soon become covered in small scratches, while in a case it will simply not be visible. The second, mini jack rip. Yes, there is an adapter in the box, but I'm set in my ways. The mini jack should be in the smartphone. The third, thanks to 1.5 billion buttons and sensors, inserting smartphone into even most ordinary selfie stick is a quest of epic proportions. Fourth, NFC label. It is located right next to the protruding camera until, and in order for this very unit not to scratch by contactless payments, you need to train samurai accuracy so as not to touch the payment terminals directly. Yes, I agree. Points 1 and 4 are only assumptions. It's just that I can find a potential negative in everything. The screen, as I mentioned, has 6 and 5-inch diagonal. The matrix is OLED. The resolution is 3840 to 1644 with amazing 643 ppi. But even this does not make it outstanding. 21:9 ratio does. What does this mean for the end user? First, video content. Now I will say pretentiously that you feel like in cinema. Or will I? Yes, you will have to look for videos with an aspect ratio or choose between the frames on the sides or the cropping above and below. For that you have Netflix and a few more resources. It's not for me to teach you where to get content. There is one more setting in this regard. We will return to it later. Secondly, gaming. For the millionth time I launch PlayerUnknown's Battleground, which can't possibly surprise me, right? Well, no. With Xperia 1 you can see more space. You can enlarge the buttons, which I usually miss at critical moments. So the phone's just better for gaming in general. And thirdly, split screen. It has 2 applications. Run YouTube on the one side and Google on the other, for example. That's hardly a new thing, you may say. Even Xperia that could do it. Yes, the feature is not new. But only here, thanks to this aspect ratio, it can be used comfortably. And now about that very clever setting, or rather a clever mode. It is called Creator Mode. Well, yes, the name is a bit lame, but it does support BT 2020 and HDR10 colors. Surely you heard about the second, but about the first, unlikely. Without going into needless details, here's what it is. It is a very adult color standard, the support for which is not something that smartphones or even TVs usually have, but it can be found in expensive professional monitors. It is also possible to tweak while balance with 3 presets or even manually with sliders. Inside we find Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 with 8 cores, Adreno 640 and 6 GB of RAM. Of course, all asphalts and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds run perfectly. For the next 3 years, the phone will stay relevant in terms of sheer power. However, there is a moment that personally surprised me. The phone gets warm, even after a short time spent gaming. At least it does not cause discomfort. I can honestly say that all Sony devices get warm. There's 128 GB of storage, although there is also a version with 64 GB, plus you can use a microSD card up to 1 TB. Frankly, I don't know what can make me like the phone even more. Although I actually do. Cameras. With them, you just have to take lots of pictures. And if you want, that'd be odd, like buying a supercar and driving it 40 km/h. There are 3 cameras: 12 megapixel wide angle, f1 and 6, 26 mm with 5-axis optical stabilization, 12 megapixels telephoto, f2 and 4, 52 mm with at least 5-axis optical stabilization and 2x optical zoom, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide, f2 and 4, 16 mm. Let's talk about the features. Focusing on the eyes. This feature comes from series Sony cameras. It works amazingly fast. Bokeh. It can vary, and I am not afraid of this word, elegantly blur the background. The edges of the object stay sharp. Manual mode. Here everything is standard. In general, you get great photos. However, that's not the main thing. We'll talk about this later. The selfie cameras, 8 megapixel wide angle, f2, 24 mm. The quality is quite good. Even the degree of blue can be adjusted. There are some errors with contrast thought. It's not clear who needs these enlarged eyes and the like. Imagine a beautiful modern skyscraper of metal and glass with wooden shutters. Surreal. Although perhaps someone actually likes it. Video Full HD, 30 FPS. Nothing exceptional. And now to the trio of cameras. It's not photo, but video that matters the most: 4K, Full HD and 30 FPS. Full HD at 60 FPS and even HD, for some reason. Awesome 960x slow-mo in Full HD. There is an option with 120 FPS, but in 960. By themselves, the videos are of course beautiful and all that. But the Cinema Pro application is what makes them stand out. It's created specifically for video fans, for those who want to get the most out of the smartphone's cameras. Now, this app won't transform you into Tarantino, but it will help make the video more cinematic thanks to the certain profiles of LUTs. Choose a resolution, 4K or 2K. Choose the number of frames per second, 2398 or 2997. This setting makes your videos more cinematic, and this effect is complemented directly by the filters, of which there are 8, plus an empty preset. Choose one of 3 lenses, enable or disable stabilization. Adjust the ISO, white balance and shutter speed. Choose the type of focus and go ahead. Create. Here is a short video as an example. You can make videos all day considering the 3300 mAh battery, which to my surprise is enough for a day of active use. Everything works on Android 9, which is quick, beautiful and smooth. It's a joy to use. It seems to have every possible feature, but Sony managed to add another one. I'm talking about Side Sense. What it is? On the left and right side of the screen, there are zones that can be activated by double tap. swipe up or swipe down. It helps navigating through the screens in the main menu or launching the panel with selected applications. In the camera application you can also assign actions to them. You can configure literally everything: the speed, the length, or the required swipes. But maybe my hands are not growing from their right place, since after all the training I mastered only the application panel with a double tap. And that was after the 10th try. Swipes were above my level. In theory, this is convenient. In practice, I failed hard. Sony Xperia 1 is an expensive smartphone. When did Sony release anything cheap? However, it seems to me that it worth every penny. Awesome design, incredible screen with its 21K9, and unparalleled support for adult color standards. Cameras that are not perfect, but are good for photos and at the same time stunning in terms of video and software. Yes, the phone gets warm, even with prolonged use of the camera, by the way. Yes, no mini jack Xperia 1 is not perfect, but it is unique. Sony has always been ahead of the rest of the world with its ideas, and it won't surprise me if in the new generation of flagships the other manufacturers will switch to the same aspect ratio, copy side sense, and many other features of the device. A link to the text review will soon appear in the description of this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like our video. Till next time!